Hi guys, I just had a long day at work, but I have a book haul and also I'm gonna film the reading wrap up for August. I also have an ice pack on my knee, so we're just living our best life. But we're gonna set you guys up like this, and we're just gonna do I already told you, we're gonna do a book haul and a reading wrap up. So we'll just get into it. I think I'm gonna do the reading wrap up first. Okay, so I read 9 books this month. Started off the month with Jasper Vale by Devney Perry, and I loved it. It was so good. I give it 4 stars. It's about Eloise, Eden, and Jasper Vale, hence the name of the book. So it starts off with their trip to Vegas to see Jasper's friend Foster compete in a boxing competition. And while they're there, Eloise and Jasper end up getting married in a chapel by Elvis. So that's a whole thing. And when they get back from that trip, they realize that, they're still married. And they end up just pretending like they meant to do it because Eloise wants to be seen as responsible so that her parents will end up giving the hotel over to her so that she can become the owner of it. Because that's like her dream and she really wants it and she wants to prove to them that she is responsible and is able to do that. So they have like a fake marriage, but it's not so fake. They end up spending a lot of time together actually, and it just is so good, and it's very spicy though. So if you're not into spicy, this one was harder to skip through the spicy, but you could probably do it still. But it is really good, and I do like the chemistry that these two have together. Thought that was really good. And then the next book I read was A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. This is her Gold Rush Ranch series. I think it's number 2. Yeah, this is the second book in it. This is about Violet Eaton. So she is the sister to like Rhett and Cade and all those that are in the Chestnut Spring series. So she works at the ranch, homestead, whatever you want to call it, that Gold Rush Ranch. I guess it's a ranch because it's in the name. But she works there as a horse jockey, and you learned that in the first book. But she wants to prove that she can do this job because it's like her dream job. And then she ends up in the first like couple chapters, she breaks her leg in a race, and her apartment is up like flights of stairs. So she ends up moving in to the main house where Cole is staying, which Cole is Vaughn's older brother, Vaughn from the first book. And Cole is very, very, very grumpy. And he doesn't like Violet, and you learn why. And he just doesn't want to put up with her, basically. But now she has to live in the main house with him, because she can't get up flights of stairs, obviously, with a broken leg. And so he helps take care of her a little bit, which is precious. I love that trope. And it's a romance, so you know what happens. But I liked that there were different elements in this, and I can't tell you them without spoiling it. Cole used to be in the military, and you learn a lot about what happened to him while he was in the military and kind of why he has such a hard exterior. And I gave this one 4.5 stars. Then I finally read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I gave it 3.5 stars. Probably closer to like 3.25, that type of thing. It was so slow. It was so slow. It was good, and I think if this was a TV series or a movie, the slowness would have felt more like suspension, or like slow build-up, but it just felt dragged when you're reading it, at least when I read it. But the end, didn't really see that coming till I was like, oh my gosh, is this where this is going? Like when I was getting really, really close to it, and that is indeed where it was going. So that was kind of crazy. There were some of the other surprises and things that happened that I was like, didn't see that coming, but some I did see coming. So it was a good one to get into spooky season with. Just because it is like kind of creepy, and obviously like this cover, you get thriller from it. But Millie is trying to become a maid at a house of a rich family. Nina is the wife and Andrew is the husband, and they have a daughter, but she is not Andrew's daughter. She's just Nina's. So Millie has kind of a rough past, and you learn about it, but she lies on her resume to get this job at this house with this family. Nina totally could have Googled her and found out all this information about her, but she ends up hiring her anyways. She acts very nice at first, and then she starts just acting kind of crazy, and she will make a whole mess of the kitchen and then blame it on Millie and ask Millie why she doesn't clean up the messes that she makes, even though literally 30 seconds before she was the one throwing food on the ground or putting perfectly good plates into the sink, on the counter, smearing food all over them, like that kind of stuff. Just acting totally crazy and blaming everything on Millie. And so you go through this book kind of being like, this is insane, but Millie really needs the money, so she continues to work there. And so there's just like a creepy feeling of like, why is she doing this? Is she actually crazy, or is she, what is she doing? Like, if she's not crazy, why is she doing this? So it was good, and it has a really good plot. It just was really slow for like that much of the book at least. But yeah. And then I read Crimson River. Also, I read all of these on Kindle Unlimited, so if you're really wanting to read the Eden series, Kindle Unlimited is your best friend. So Crimson River, this one is about Lila. I almost called her Layla. Lila Eden, and this like investigator cop who comes because at the very first part of the book, like the first 2 chapters, I think, Eloise and Jasper tell Lila to go take a hike because she owns the bakery. Lila does. And they tell her they'll watch over the bakery and she can go take a hike and take a break because she's always working. So she goes on a hike, and then she almost gets murdered by this random guy in the woods that she sees and almost dies. And so then this investigator cop guy, he comes to town from quite a ways away, and he is looking for him. He ends up meeting up with Lila so that she can tell him what happened to her, and she kind of wants to help him find this guy that hurt her and wanted to kill her. And so they start working together to try and find out who is this guy and why he is there and all that kind of stuff, and why he wanted to hurt her. And it was really good. I love a good crime aspect in a book, plus the romance was really good. I will say the Eden series is spicy. Like I said with Jasper Vale, you can skip over it. It's possible. It's just a little more difficult with a series that has a lot of spice. But there's still enough plot and content that without the spice, you still get a great story, which I love. And this one I also gave 4 stars. So the same rating as Jasper Vale. Next, I've been waiting for this book for a whole year. And it has the purple sprayed edges, which I love because the first book is purple with red sprayed edges, so they're just flip-flopped. This is the second book. The first book is Assistant to the Villain. This one's Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole. I think it's Mayer. I still don't know how to say her name, and I'm so sorry. She's precious. Every time I comment, she likes my comment. So, on TikTok. Love her. And love her TikTok content. I love that this series, started out just as a TikTok series that she was making, just of the fun thoughts in her head, and then like the stories that she likes to tell and the videos that she would make. So I love that this is what came from those videos. I gave this book 5 stars. It was so good. The tension between the villain and Evie, so good. yeah, I just love it. I won't tell you what goes on in this book because you need to read the first book. Everything that I could tell you about this book is a spoiler. But just know, this is one of my favorite books that I've read this year and last year. Last year, the first book to this was my favorite book that I read the whole year. It was so good. I will always recommend this series. And the next book I read was Catching Sparks by Hannah Cohen. This was a cowboy-ish small town romance. I say ish because the male main character in this, not a cowboy. So the first book, Brody Steele, that's the main character in the first book. He works at a music label, and this book, the male main character is the co-owner of that music label. So, him and his dad own it together, and he makes a huge mistake with one of the singer-songwriters that they employ and have signed to their label, and he ends up having to pay for that mistake by going to stay in Cherry Creek, where this takes place. The male main character's name is Garrison, and our female main character, her name is Poppy. So Poppy owns a pole exercise studio. I don't remember what she calls it, but basically she teaches pole dancing classes for exercise because she is a bigger girl, and that's the only really form of exercise that she's actually ever enjoyed and that has worked for her. So she wants to provide that for the town that she lives in, it's a pretty small town. Everyone judges her for it though, everyone. And they shouldn't, because rude. She is a business owner, she does that. And Garrison comes to stay in this town because his dad is basically forcing him to be there. And they end up kind of just, hooking up and having a grand old time. But they also help each other work through a lot of issues and just kind of be better. At least Poppy. Poppy helps Garrison become a lot better and just more positive and happy to be around, I gave this one 3 stars. Then I listened to Loud by Drew Afawalo. She is a Samoan TikToker who has now written a best-selling book. It's a memoir about how she kind of grew up and how she became who she is today, and her attitude towards, living her best life and becoming the strong, independent woman that she is today. And she kind of tells you basically that anybody in your life that doesn't treat you the way that they should doesn't need to be there, and that you don't just need a partner or to be in a relationship just to be in it. Because a big thing that I took from this book, from her memoir, was that she said that she would rather die alone than be with a mediocre man. Amen. I love that. You and everyone deserves to be with somebody who treats them well and respects them and loves them. And that is something I wholeheartedly agree with. And I did love this memoir. She's the one that reads it to you on the audiobook because I listened to it. So I definitely would recommend the audiobook over just reading it because it's so good to hear it in her voice. And I give this one 4 stars. Next, I read A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. This one I gave 5 stars. It was so good. This is about a girl named Elsie who is going to the cabin that her book club goes to every year. Nobody else can make it, so she's going alone. She ends up taking a wrong turn somewhere and ends up in a town that she didn't even know existed, because guess what? It's her favorite romance novel, and she gets to meet all the characters, and she kind of gets to stay there and enjoy herself, and she's discovered that this is the happiest she's been in so long. And so she learns to be happy there, and obviously it has to come to an end at some point, but you're just at least for a lot of it, I was just enjoying like her interacting with the characters that she loves and getting to see that. And she meets a man there. She meets a man and cried. I sobbed. I didn't sob. I cried a lot though. It was so good. Also, with this one, I got to test out my little highlighter strips that I bought. I got to do that with a lot of the book, which has been so fun. Let's see if I can find a good quote for you guys. It says, "Your favorite book could be one you haven't read yet." One hit hard for me. Before the book starts, a couple years before, she had a boyfriend and they were engaged actually, and it was really close to their wedding date, and he ends up breaking it off. So he ended up getting engaged to somebody else later, and this is what she had to say, and it hit really close to home. If you know, you know. Apparently he had wanted to get married. He just hadn't wanted to marry me. Ooh, these are some good ones, okay? No context. I can't give you context for this because it's like more than halfway through the book. But someone once told me that we can only take on as much as we can carry with us. Would you carry me with you? If you'll let me, I'll carry you here. He picked up my hand, kissed my palm, and placed it over his heart. And then skip a few lines. And it says, because he was right. Sometimes people came into your life for brief moments and changed you forever. There's just so many good ones in this book. Nothing could ever stay in stasis. Nothing ever stopped. Nothing was permanent. Art lived and breathed like love, like friendship. Life, like works of art, was transformative. It persisted, and through them, so did we. Beautiful writing. Ashley, Miss Poston, I will read anything you write ever. And I was scared to go into this because a lot of people that I have the same book taste as were rating this kind of lower. Not low, but like lower. No, I absolutely loved it. This was the book for me. The book. I have to share this with you. This is literally a whole lot. Persist. Love looked like a man who had coffee ready for me in the mornings, even though he preferred tea, and remembered exactly how I took it. Love ate my sugary spaghetti, part of the book, and held an umbrella over my head when it rained, and apologized when he knew he was wrong. Love was inquisitive and mindful, and somewhere beneath the grumpy exterior, sweet. Love was tricking yourself into doing something you didn't want to do, because you loved the person who did. Love was a bunch of small things that added up to bigger things. Love was feeling valued and accepted just the way you were. It was never feeling too much or not enough, even though often you were both, because love loved you anyway, not in spite of it, but because of it. If that doesn't make you want to read this book, I don't know what will, truly. And last but not least, I read My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. I watched the TV series of this before I read the book. I will say I liked the TV series better. I liked the changes they made in it. I gave the book a 3.5, and I don't know. It's a good fantasy, and it's fun and pretty modern. The writing felt just like the narrator says in the show. Like, the way he narrates it felt just the way that it's written. But I just like the changes that they made for the show better. I won't spoil anything, so I don't give away the show or anything in the book. It was just an interesting read, and I'm glad I read it. I don't know that I will read the rest of the series, but it somewhat filled my need for more Jane and Guilford. So it was good. It was decent. It was a time. Okay, and now a small book haul. I'm just gonna go kind of quick because I did talk a lot in my wrap up, so apologies for that. Get into it. From an indie bookstore that is close-ish to my house, I got Quicksilver by Callie Hart. And then from Barnes, I got Two Sides to Every Murder, which I read How to Survive Your Murder by the same author, Danielle Valentine, and it was so good. It blew me away. So I'm excited for this. This is from a local author, and it's signed, and it's one of those ones that it's not a dust jacket, which is cool. It's Gravity of Deceit by L. Scott Lark. And then you know I had to get Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I'm so excited. It has the little mountain on the side to match up with my Wild Love book. And so, you know, had to get it. Okay, and then also, you know, Dustin Thau, he's gonna break my heart again, I know it. This is called When Haru Was Here, and it's a special edition with sparkly letters. So fun. Also from Barnes, my book club is reading The God of the Woods right now. I have been listening to it on audio, but I wanted a physical book to have to bring with me to book club, but also to read if I felt like I wanted to read it instead of listen to it. So plus I love the cover, it's so cool. And then I got Savor It by Tara Dewitt. I liked Funny Feelings by her, so hopefully this is good. And then since we're getting into spooky season, I got Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca, and it's kind of like, it's on the beach, so it's a little summery, but also a little spooky season, so perfect for right now. And then from Lovebound Library, I got Storybook Wedding. I told you guys about this in my last video. It's signed by the author, and I got her other book last time, but yeah, so cute. I also got 2 bookmarks and a sticker from Lovebound Library as well. I got this one with all the different tropes on it, and then this one looks like a little ticket. And then this one is from the oldest bookstore in Salt Lake City, called Weller Books, I think. Yeah, Weller Bookworks. I got Lockwood & Co. by Jonathan Stroud. This is just book 1. Okay, if you are a webtoon girly or boy, Freakin' Romance is such a good one to read on there, but it's so pretty. The art inside is so good, and I love it. This is just volume 1, but I'm so excited to have this. And then we went to a used bookstore in Salt Lake. I don't remember what it was called, but a lot of these I've already read, either when I was a kid or recently, but this is another comic. It's Rapunzel's Revenge, or graphic novel, I mean, and it's literally just if Rapunzel was an outlaw, but love that. Central Book Exchange, that's what it's called. I got this for my friend Heather. This was her favorite Sarah Dessen book. It's The Truth About Forever. It's so good. And then I completed my Magnus Chase series collection. I have the first book in hardcover, and then these are the second and third in hardcover, and they're in really good condition. For the nostalgia, I got Flipped. And this is the cover that is Bryce one way, and then what's her name? Julie the other way. So I love that. That's so cool. I really want to read this again, actually, so maybe it'll be in my TBR for this month. Okay, that is all of the books that I either read last month or have bought in the last month. You guys know what to do if you like the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff that you guys know how to do. And I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye!